Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Roid Rage podcast. I am your host, Major Hemorrhoid. Well, folks, what do we have for you today on today's little bit? Well, first of all, we're going to go off about politics. That's right. It's presidential season and the bullshitters are out in force, and guess what? Every once in a while we have to highlight just how wonderful the bullshit has been and what it is today. Lots of bullshit coming at you soon. Because first, let's talk about Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Yes, I do have my handy dandy agenda here. Perfect for any occasion. Love whiteboards. Not too many of them yet. But Kamala Harris and the Dems. Well, I'm going to light this real quick. Yeah. I'm going to pop this top too. That's right. We'll drink this. I'm going to puff this. Then we're going to go off about some bullshit. Not bad. You see, Kamala Harris is the absolute she's the kind of person who should never be allowed to be in any position of authority, let alone second in command, let alone the leader of the country. We already have a dementia-ridden old man who can barely answer questions in a complete sentence more than a couple words long. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about this, too, that should bother us. We all saw the debate where Biden looked completely shouldn't be up there, shouldn't even be leading shit. And immediately it's like everybody's like, somebody else needs to be the nominee, somebody else needs to be nominee. And it's like, okay, so they appointed Kamala Harris without a second of any deliberation. It's her. She's been the VP. She's the best choice. Sacrificial lamb is what I call her, but it is what it is. Nobody's going to vote for her. It should be a slaughter, but we'll see. But the fact that they anointed her the one without any kind of deliberation, because they didn't have a primary for Biden, because, in a long-standing tradition, you don't primary the president or the incumbent. That person is left alone, because obviously you want that person to have a second term, or else you're really admitting the guy was a complete and total clusterfuck. Kind of had to admit the guy was a complete and total clusterfuck. He wasn't at the controls, somebody else, and he's just sitting there going, let me fall over on this bicycle. And they made her, who for anybody remembering a hair about the last election, okay, the last primary season, 2020, okay, you got a bunch of people up there, right, on the Democratic side, and Kamala Harris was up there. But so was another person who just happened to obliterate her chances, and that was Tulsi Gabbard. She literally destroyed her with logic and facts and reason and turned her into an overnight joke. And the fact that she was picked as VP was like, yeah, do you really want her leading shit? Don't kill me. Seems to be the running trend in vice presidents, but that's beside the point. But then we go to the other side, okay? Now, I used to be a Republican, okay? I was a Republican as of 2012. After that election, I went independent. There's a reason for that. Because when we talk about Democrats, we have to talk about Republicans. Because they're two heads of the same snake. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I've been around, they have been. You know, they both work together to fuck the American people. They don't do it for our benefit, that's for damn sure. You look at any study of any populist proposal, they say, nope, sorry, we don't like that. You know, any proposal that they can get rich on, fuck yeah, let's do that. You know, there's this huge hubbub now about these Congress people getting richer off of the stock trades, the insider trading that they're essentially guilty of. Even without a trial, it's like, oh, you know stuff, you trade before it goes south or up, and everything is great and wonderful. It's like, don't people go to prison for that? I think they do. Yeah, insider trading, isn't it that what it's called? I thought we were all equal under the law, equal protection under the law. That people like that who use the knowledge of their office like some Back to the Future sports book. Hey, look at what happened on this day. And then, bam, they get richer. It's like, yeah, I didn't like the second one. Kind of sucked. And I definitely didn't like the plot line, especially when, you know, Biff went back to the future and nothing changed for him. You know, one of those, you know, geek nerd timeline type of things to where it's like, yeah, I don't buy that. As soon as you go forward, that changes everything. It's over, it's done. But anyway, the other head of the snake, Republicans. Okay, Obamacare, or ACA, the Affordable Care Act. Affordable. Yeah, sure. Add thousands of bureaucrats, add thousands of government employees, add hundreds, if not thousands, of middlemen with the insurance company. Yeah, sure, everything's going to be far more affordable. You betcha. Here, let me smoke this joint and try to sell you a bridge. Fuck. Okay. The reason why I stopped being a Republican, 2012, okay? Let's do a little history lesson, okay? Back in the Clinton presidency, okay, this is 92 to 2000, Hillary Clinton championed a proposal very similar to the Affordable Care Act, which wanted to socialize the system and, you know, Medicaid for all, essentially. But it was very toned down, but it was very in your face, and nobody liked it, nobody wanted it, and it went down in flames at the national level, in part because both houses, I believe at the time, were controlled by Republicans. And obviously, they aren't going to fly with that, you would think. So, it died at the national level. But it went through at various states. Various states wanted to try it out, wanted to do the same thing. And of course, you can imagine how well that has worked to give free health care to people who either could use it but don't need it, or like to abuse the system in ways that make it unaffordable and unusable for everybody else. Yeah. Well, in 2012, there was a man who was the Republican chosen one. His name was Mitt Romney. And Mitt Romney used to be the governor of Massachusetts. And Massachusetts passed socialized medicine. Now, fast forward a few years. He's the presidential nominee, okay? The Republicans took over the House and I believe the Senate, but I'm not quite sure, because of the fight against Obamacare. People wanted it gone because health prices went through the roof. It was no longer affordable. It was a fucking joke. It was like all of a sudden my wallet got violated by the Health Care Act, and it turned up going, my ass, I can't afford it anymore. Get away, get away, get away. But it never went away. But the Republicans kept promising that they would go away. Like a bad case of hemorrhoids. Oh, it'll be over if you just, listen to us, vote for us, and everything will be fine. Well, they did that in 2010, but when 2012 came around, who did they want to be their presidential nominee? Oh, what do you know? It's the same guy who championed it at a state level. Wow. Kind of takes the wind out of the sails. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, here's a guy who absolutely supports almost everything the other guy absolutely supports, but he's got absolutely zero charisma, zero appeal, so he's got no hope to get rid of this guy. But again, they're the same. Literally, both of them. They support the same shit. They might have different little ticks on their, boxes, but when it comes right down to it, they're going to support the same shit. Wars, corruption, fucking just, oh God. They don't support the people, I can guarantee you that. But again, what does it matter? It's Democrats versus Republicans. Because I've been paying attention since 92. When it was Bush, Clinton, and a man named Ross Perot. Texas billionaire. When billionaire was actually, you've got $1 billion? Holy shit. Really? Oh my God, that's fucking amazing. Oil baron or something like that. Don't give a shit. The point is, there was an actual viable third choice to the Democrat and Republican Party. And if I could have voted at the time, I would have voted for him, and a lot of people did vote for him. But after it was all said and done, the Democrats and Republicans got together to make sure that there were certain rules put in place to make sure that a third-party candidate had almost zero option to be up on that stage for a third choice. Don't think they're two heads of the same snake? Here's another example. That 2012 election, talked about for a second, I paid attention to the whole thing. I mean, I always watched the conventions, didn't matter which side, I watched both sides. I watched all the debates. I did just fucking, it was fun. Trust me. Anyway, I'm watching the Republican, and there is Rudy Giuliani, or no, it wasn't Giuliani, it was Boehner, John Boehner, the spray tan or orange tan motherfucker who always pretended to be, the Republican stalwart of, low spending, low government. Yeah, he was a fucking circle jerk too. He stood up there and took a voice vote on something that the Ron Paul people were against, and the Romney people were mostly for, not entirely. And so they did a voice vote. And it was clear that the voice vote was at least 50-50. It wasn't too tilted, maybe to the other side. And the guy just said, nope, ayes have it, everything's good, motion is passed. Okay? And there's a huge uproar from the floor, and nobody ended up giving a shit. But there was a video of it where there was a teleprompter, and the guy had a camera on it, and it was reading down, and it was exactly what he was saying, And it told him that the voice vote passed and therefore everything was fine. And I'm watching that little video later on and I'm going, oh, that's fucking cute. Are you fucking serious? You're going to be that open and transparent about your corruption? Ooh, don't think I can like you very much right now. And being a Republican meant I also looked at the Democrats with contempt. So when I watched their convention, they had they were re-putting in the Christianity back in. They were putting God back in the platform. It was essentially what it was. I remember now. And they had taken it out. And there was a huge uproar from all the Christian Democrats. And, you know, that were like, what are you doing? Are you saying that we're no longer wanted in the Democratic Party? What the fuck? And like the good turnabouts they are, you know, because obviously they're a politician. They have to go, oh shit, we fucked up. We might have pissed off some of our donor base. We need to get that fucking money back quick. They tried to put God back in the platform. Well, they had a voice vote for it, and it failed the first time. And the guy up there, and I believe he was the Los Angeles mayor at the time, Villa Grosso or something like that. He was up there and he was reading the teleprompter and he's like, the voice vote didn't pass. It was obvious it didn't pass. They were not going to put God back in the platform through the voice vote. And he's like, well, okay, so he re-administered the voice vote again. And then the third time, somebody comes out and says, just do it again. They're going to vote no matter what. And he does the voice vote. He says it passes, and it goes back in the platform. Well, crowd erupts and, you know, just raucousness, because they're like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Why did you do this? It's obvious the voice vote didn't pass. But they did it anyway. They didn't care. I mean, look at how they did this primary season. They let Biden go slide through because he's the president, and then when in the debate obviously shows the guy is fucking, he's not there. I've seen old people like that. That is someone who needs care, not the mantle of leadership. Would you put your great-grandfather or great-grandma who's like not really firing all cylinders, would you want that person running the country? Case closed. So after the whole primary season where Biden didn't have a challenger because he's the president, when he fails the first test, they immediately all turn on him, put Kamala Harris in charge without a shadow of a doubt, all complete appointed, and bam, she's the one. And immediately, it's racism and sexism. Really? That's what you got? That's all you fucking got? For the last few years, you've been a running gag for everybody under the fucking sun. I mean, every video clip of you going, you know, just cackling like a fucking hyena. It's just like, and the shit that you say, you're just like, I'm losing IQ points. What the fuck? Oh, God. But she's the sacrificial lamb. Because if Biden would have gone down in flames with Trump on the other side, what would have happened? What would be the outcome of that? With her, it's just like, yeah, get out there. There's no fucking way in hell you're going to win. Get out there. Just, you know, we'll have a nice cushy office job for you. You know, you got this way because you are some of the bosses. So, you know, just be fucking happy that you got this high. Get out. This is your swan song. Go have fun. That's what it's got to be, because there's no way in hell she can win. What are you going to do? Tell everybody under the sun? Yeah, she's got a chance in hell. Who's going to vote for her? Who? Who the fuck? Who? She should be called an owl. Who wants to vote for me? Who wants to vote for me? Fuck. well, we don't want to vote for Trump. Well, no shit. I don't want to vote for Trump either. And you know what? I'm not going to. Ha 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 ha. Bet you're shocked by that one. I'm not voting for Trump. I didn't vote for him last time. What the fuck? I don't want somebody like that in charge of my country. I'd rather have him as my vice president. That way, I can watch out for the assholes. But again, Trump is part of the swamp. He's been in part of it since the very beginning of his essential political / business enterprises when he came up. The whole idea that he has no clue how politics operates. He said it in the debate. It's like, I know the system. I've played the games. I know what you do. I know your donors. It's like, oh shit, really? Oh, good, yeah, that's right. So he basically told everybody, yeah, we do this all the time, because we don't give a shit. We're looking out for ourselves. We don't care about you. Never have, never will. But we listen to them and we believe them and we do what they say. Some of us, anyway. Fuckers. Anyway, but it comes down to this, too. When it comes, all is said and done. All of these presidential people, if you look at it from a perspective of who do they want to lead the shit, you have to look at it from a charisma perspective. How much charisma does the person have in front of you on that TV screen to forget enough about some of their stupid shit? How much? How much charisma do they have? Is it more than the other person? Well, if it's more than the other person, they got a better chance of winning. Now, we can go back a number of elections to prove that. That's fine. Let's go. Biden versus Trump. Most of that was media fatigue. 4 years of endless hysteria, constantly barraging our screens, our ears and our eyes, in reverse order, constantly browbeaten about why we picked this guy, or why they picked this guy. Every scandal that they could possibly come up with, they found, explored, dropped at the first sign that it was a fucking paper mache, whatever. And Biden got elected. It was just media fatigue. Plus you had them all on the same page. Literally, on the same fucking page, every single goddamn one of them. So what the fuck ever? There was a purposeful effort to demonize this guy, to isolate anybody who would support him, so that way they would never vote for him again. And it's kind of failed. Because Biden is a doddering old man who has dementia. Therefore, it's not very strong leadership, and that last debate, wow, yeah. So that's the reason why, hopefully, Kamala Harris can somehow do something in this election. That's about it. So let's go back. We had Trump versus Hillary. Well, Hillary was arrogant, smarmy, and just complete elitist. I mean, she was a lying sack of shit from the moment she opened her mouth to the moment it closed. And even after that, when you're sitting there thinking about her fucking words, going, oh, she's lying her fucking ass off. What the fuck ever. And then you had Trump, who at least had some charisma, way more charisma than she could ever possibly muster. And let's face it, it was a game show election, and we got a game show host, and then we got a game show government. Shit. It was great. So let's go back to 2020, 2016, 2012. Oh, look, Mitt Romney versus Obama. Do we need to go over that one again? Yay. If you don't understand the difference between the two sides of evil, you never know that you shouldn't choose either one. Therefore, Obama won because he was far more charismatic and he was far more likable. Fuck. Anyway, Then we go to Obama versus McCain. Yeah. And of course, Palin was a wonderful pick. God, what a wonderful. If you can find a way to turn off the electorate and make yourself a national joke, that was the way. So that helped him out immensely. And of course, Obama won. Then we have 2004. We have good old George Bush versus John Kerry. Yeah. One of the second most uncharismatic person I've ever seen in an elected or in a appointed, primaried, decided, selected. I don't fucking know. But he's the guy on the other side who reminds me of what a moldy, damp cloth would sound like if given a political voice. That's about it. That's about it. That's about where I find him. Yeah. And then we go to 2000. George Bush versus Al Gore. Who's the first most uncharismatic person you know of, Major Hemorrhoid? Well, guess who that might be. Oh, what? Who? I'm not sure. Man, bear, pig? Possibly. But I don't think so, because, it's Al Gore, and he says so. Ooh, never seen somebody so maybe. But, it's the kind of charisma that nobody wants. It's like negative charisma. It's like there's like a dial. And you know how the joke is you turn it up to 11? Well, this one got turned down to negative 7 or 8. Because it's just that fucked. And it came down to a hanging Chad, which spawned electronic voting. Fuck you. And, yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. George Bush got elected, and we got some endless wars that we're still in. Hey, what do you know? Good old Republicans. Another reason why. Oh, by the way, they hate Trump so much that they're willing to side with Kamala Harris. These same Republicans who were president or were trying to be president. Go figure. So then we have, in 96, Dole versus Clinton. Ah, yes, Bill Clinton. Good old William Jefferson Clinton. That was the first election I could vote in. 96. Being a diehard Republican, I voted for Dole. Even though I wanted to vote for Perot, because he was kind of running, but they had turned him into a fucking joke. And it was just, there was no fucking chance. Would have voted for him otherwise, but, Republican, Dole. He's our man. If he can't do it, shit. Really? We gotta put up with him for 4 more years? And then, of course, the Republicans circle jerked themselves for the following 4 years, and, whatever, but that's beside the point. Oh, then we've got 92. We've got Ross Perot, Bill Clinton, and George H.W. Bush. HW was about as charismatic as my Powerade bottle with a tea bag in it. Little charisma, but not a whole lot. Bill Clinton, on the other side, could weave gold out of the shit that he spews out of his mouth. The guy was charismatic, likable, and even I still say it to this day. Man was gifted. Damn good politician. He was a piece of shit and scumbag. Lion-ass motherfucker, but, whatever. He could do it wonderfully. With a smile on his face and a song in his heart, he could do any kind of lie he wanted and make you believe it. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Yeah, he did. He lied openly, easily, no problem. So, obviously, what do I care? Then we had 88, Bush versus Dukakis. If you want to let a murderer out on some kind of furlough and has some fun, yeah, you're probably going to get screwed. They were both kind of equal on the charismatic front, but it just got done with Reagan, and he was the VP, he was the shoe-in, and Dukakis found a way to fuck himself. So, charismatic, not so much, but a little bit more to Bush. Reagan, fuck. You have a B actor who did a decent amount of movies, so he knew what he was doing when he was up on stage. He had been governor. I mean, he was just, perfect. So he got 8 years out of it. There was Mondale in 84 and Carter in 80. And Carter was a disaster in his own right, but because he was going up against Ford in 76 due to Nixon resigning and Ford becoming president, that was the de facto, and therefore Carter won. And he was pretty charismatic. I mean, the guy was like, he was pretty cool, seemed all right, and then you got to his presidential term, and then it was a total clusterfuck. But whatever. He had charisma. Let's see, what else? But yeah, Ford was never elected. He became president because of Nixon, who won in 72 and had to resign shortly thereafter because of Watergate, and then won in 68 versus, I believe it was LBJ, who had just done the new, oh God, you want to hear a horrible human being, he was one of them. But go do some research, have some fun, enjoy yourself. It'll be a mind fuck, I guarantee you. Last one I'll go to, there's not really more. Most of the people that are alive and can remember those elections, go ask them if they're still around. But right now, there's no chance in hell that Kamala Harris could ever win this presidential race, specifically because she's a walking clusterfuck. An absolute disastrous, hemorrhoidal nightmare. She needs a preparation H-bomb. She really does. She needs the kind of preparation H-bomb that is jalapeno flavored and ready to go. There needs to be some habaneros ground into a fine mush and put into that bomb and shoved directly up her ass, because that is the kind of presidential candidate she is. And anybody who votes for her should also get one of those preparation H-bombs, because you should fucking know better than to vote for somebody like that. But then again, you should also know better than to vote for somebody like Trump. But that's just me. If you go back into my channel's history, there is a, I believe, tidbit from 2016 for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, in which I go, the Pied Piper versus the Queen of Corruption. Which evil will you choose? Because that's what he is. He's a Pied Piper. He's singing a tune, and everybody's dancing to it. They think it's fucking great. And it's just like, no, he's just showing you exactly what's going to happen to anybody who would actually do something positive. They will fuck you. But because he's a part of the system, they'll only do enough to warn off all of the good doers that might actually waver. The rest of them will expose themselves, and they can take them out as much as they want. Ha 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 ha. But, whatever. So in the end, we're all completely fucked. We're going to get South Park's edition of Turd Sandwich versus a Giant Douche for the umpteenth billionth time. You're going to see a bunch of bullshit spewed on both sides. It just resembles the kind of verbal diarrhea that just all over the fucking landscape. There'll be people at the water cooler sitting there pissed off at the other person at the water cooler. They'll be back and forth yapping and yapping. It'll be a fucking shit show. There'll be a ton of assholes, and we'll all get to deal with it until November, when it just restarts again for another shit show that nobody really wants to see anymore. I'm voting none of the above. Fuck it. Have a good one. Peace.